And we're back at the Sleeping Grush Inn. You look worn and tired from your travels, adventurer. Why don't you pull up a seat? The stew's good, but the ale is better. Tell us all about your adventures in Phelan. I'm Master Matt.
And I'm Phelan Jon. And when Matt just said you look worn and tired, adventurer, I thought he was talking directly to me.
I was. I didn't have to make anything up there.
Oh, weary traveler. Oh, God, yes.
Welcome back to the Sleeping Grush podcast. We're happy to be here. My gosh, it's been a hiatus. That's just our typical thing to say these days.
Yep.
But also typical is our plug for Cardboard Corner Cafe. And here we sit in Cardboard Corner Cafe. We have been taking advantage of their drinks all afternoon. Jager and I both. I don't think John's had a chance to yet.
No, what'd you guys have?
Well, I had coffee.
Coffee. You have something good?
The only drink.
Boring. Okay, I'll fix it. People, I will take care of this and set the example here in a moment. It's fine. It's all fine.
If you're looking for a great place in Kansas City to meet some friends, have a drink or two, have some great food, play some games, Cardboard Corner Cafe is your place to be. Now in 2 locations, Overland Park and Lenexa. Next time you're in town, make sure to check out Cardboard Corner Cafe.
Yep.
All right, John, it has been a while since we've been here, but we've got so much going on. We are down below a month before Adepticon.
Don't remind me.
I know, right? I was taking stock of everything that I needed to get done still yesterday morning, right, as I started out my week. And it produced a lot of stress because there's just so much, and I thought I'd done so much, but there's always more to do. We are so looking forward to Adepticon. It's going to be a huge event, new at the Barrett Center there in Milwaukee this time. So
Milwaukee.
There's an element of new about it, and we're going to have a really great time. Tickets just ended. When this is being recorded, they stopped being sold last Friday.
Advanced tickets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys did us proud. I mean, you filled up almost every one of our events, which is amazing. And I know from past experience that our crowd will only get bigger as we throw out.
Yeah, we'll get you a seat.
Tables.
Right, just come and buy a ticket. There's waiting list business. There's always some kind of 10% drop.
Yeah.
We will get you in front of a game.
Yeah. If you're looking for a game, gosh, we'll be able to provide it on some amazing looking tables. So let's talk about what's on your table, John. What are you painting these days?
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll get to. We'll do them in reverse order. I was just about to talk about Varkraalans. We'll do Varkraalans last. I have several bloodfly swarms.
Oh, nice. How are those painting up?
Well, easy because I'm using contrast. I'm a contrast demon these days, especially for I'm doing 9 of them.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Because I can, and because I know where to get them, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Raid the refrigerator for bloodfly swarms.
Not where I keep mine, but
we want to play that scenario, the bloodfly feast.
Yes.
But I want to have it also available for encounters games and larger events.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole idea of the battlefield and you're searching for, I want to expand that into a greater scene and another, kind of encounters campaign.
Sure.
And I'm going to need more than just a couple.
Oh, yeah.
3, 4. I think you can get away with 3 in a typical bloodfly feast game. So I'll have plenty,
Right.
2 dead eyes for my Raven Blades.
I saw those. Yeah. Those
One is also going to act as a mercenary crossbow woman for my all-female bandits.
Sweet.
Right. Then I have Trillions. I have plenty of Trillions. I am painting up to have full units for captains of Phelan.
That's awesome.
And I need to flesh out a couple.
Sure.
So I'm painting some tree runners right now to fill out a tree runner unit. And then seems like there's somebody else. So Varkraalans, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about them here in a minute because that is the faction we are releasing for Adepticon.
Right.
And of course, being a member of the company, we get to see ours a little early.
Well, sure.
And I have a complete array of the models. 2 of every hero, the monk, the Wampang monk, and then several of each follower. And this is, I don't know how many times we've said so far when we've done a new fact, this is our best work. This is our best work.
It continues to be true.
Yeah.
And there's no comparison. I've seen these figures and held them, and they are absolutely gorgeous. Not just the sculpt, but the action behind them, the little cultural details on them. They're just beautiful. They are going to be a feast for painters.
And the Azura starter box was all one-piece models.
Right.
This is not. There's a couple of two-piece models. I will tell you, I've put together literally thousands of models in all different materials, and as easy to put together as they come.
Yeah, right.
Very, very easy joins they're secure. Just a drop of glue. No pinning required. No shenanigans required. No real, cleaning them up. That I remember. Everything was kind of straight and no mold lines. But like you say, the detail and the look, the way they hang together as a theme, and the little details on them, they're a joy to start painting. So I just started painting those as well. Got them all primed. I've just started with the flesh.
That's awesome.
Color. So, how about you? What's on your paint table?
Well, everything for Adepticon.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah, so
big games going on for Adepticon.
Yeah.
And right now, the main... We've got 2 main groups, and both of them are going to end up being captain's armies, actually, that I think will end up being studio armies for us. One of them is an undead Kandorn force that I only need to expand on a little bit for the Sinking Sands game, and they're almost done. You were talking about contrast.
Do you need any more?
What's that?
Do you need any more?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to need some more.
Want me to bring my case?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
That'd be fantastic. Thank you.
Side comment.
Yeah.
Move on.
Here we go. So they, you were talking about contrast paints and using contrast paints. I've got 30 of these Kandorans sitting in front of me, and the quickest way to do things is obviously contrast. But I've tried a new thing to me, anyways, where I'm using contrast for base and then going back over with a not even like a highlight or anything, but actually going back over and doing like all the gold pieces on their jewelry sets and things like that. And it's really coming out nicely.
I think everybody using contrast paints is developing their own techniques that go beyond just, I'm going to cheat on that one piece of the model.
Right.
And not worry about, like, if it's red, I'm not going to do a red shade, a red highlight, a red base. I'm just going to hit it with red contrast and leave it.
Yeah.
They are developing their own techniques where it's involved, but it's not, I'm just doing that. Now, these red blood flies right now, it's just there'll be more, but there'll be more, right?
Yeah,
the bodies are different colors. I want to pick out certain features.
Yeah.
I think everybody's sort of working their way. Either they're watching a YouTube video, somebody who's like more skilled, or they're kind of just experimenting like I am, trying new things and see what works.
Well, it's really easy for me to watch YouTube and find somebody more skilled. So.
Yes, all of them. Yeah, I hear that.
So yeah, there's going to be parts obviously that are all contrast, but they're looking really good, and I'm very excited about that. You guys haven't seen that table yet. Jacob Metzinger is putting the finishing touches on that. I'm going to show John here afterwards what that's looking like, and it's just going to be gorgeous. And then the second set I'm working on are all Azura for the Last Days of the Legion game, and just spoilers. A cloud of Azura fall on the flagship of this Trazarite
whirlwind
fleet
of Azura.
That's right, and you get to be the Azura fighting the Traz, and bringing forth the name of the game. So,
Last Days indeed.
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and they're going to be, they've been a ton of fun to paint.
What's your I haven't seen these. I saw your Undead. What did the what's the color palette?
It is a golden yellow and a jade.
Ooh.
And they're all themed like that. So it looks like what I've done is lore-wise, and here we go down that rabbit hole, but it is a coastal scouting force that has been, the Trazarite force has been sighted, and they've called this coastal area up, and as a unit, they're going to take care of business.
Yeah, that's super sexy.
And it's going to be a captain's army, and it's hot. It's hot. That jade and yellow is hot. So that's what's on my table right now. There's some things that are personal that I'd like to talk about, but honestly, those are what's really consuming my attention right
sure.
now.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that, let's talk about the Varkraalans.
Talk about Varkraal.
Because, oh my gosh. So I told John, he was like, we can talk about the lore. And I'm like, yes, but not much here.
Right.
We're going to do that another
gameplay.
time. We want to talk about gameplay. We want to talk about these guys on the field, these guys and gals on the field, and just how new and awesome they are. And if you're following along, I've done a little video series on how these Semidian refugees came to be Varkraalans, and there's going to be a lot more of that coming in the next couple of weeks. So I'm not going to bore you with that. You can be bored.
I've been meaning to talk to you about that, actually. Didn't today's splash say something about the Trillions hunt us, the so-and-sos do this? Hey, false news, huh? Right? Yeah, a little propagandistic on the part of the Varkraal.
Depends on
your point of view. Right, yeah. I think they were in the reach first, but we can settle that on the tabletop. Yeah, so keep your damn yap shut. Yeah, right. This is Varkraalan time.
What I want to do is engage people's imagination about how the Varkraalans feel,
right,
and who they are as a people, and what drives them as a people.
Yeah.
And the
Dread Hunter Trillions,
today,
you didn't want these damn mountains.
That's right.
Right.
Just stick to your forest.
Your thing.
Let us have these mountains, please.
All right. So Varkraal, we're going to talk about what's in the starter box first.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. So, and to have the gameplay part make sense, you've got to understand that the Varkraalan faction is bringing a brand new primary skill to the game.
Right.
Okay. Right now in Free Blades, as of today, before Adepticon, before the release, there are 4 primary skills: a melee attack, range attack, casting, spell casting, and performance, or perform, which is bards.
Right.
We say perform because it's not necessarily singing or playing a musical instrument.
Wow,
what a visual. And you're lucky it's a podcast. People, I'm just here to say.
One of these days you're going to have to.
No, you got to watch Matt dance.
View of
live,
that, yeah. You call it dance. That's very
right.
generous.
It was interpreted. I know that much. So they're bringing a 5th primary skill called focus. They do not, and this is, we're always seeking to be familiar but unique.
Right.
Okay. People like what they like about fantasy, about high fantasy. And so you don't want to miss the opportunity to give a player what they're looking for, what they like about, that game. What we want is to have a Phalonian answer that's our own.
Right.
So this is the monk class, right? Not imbued with some kind of magical power, but able to focus their own inner strength and their spirituality into effects on the game table.
Right.
And that's a focus skill. And so it's a skill, so it has a rating like D6, D8, D10. And the monks who have it have a list of mantras, just like a bard would have a list of performances, songs, dances. And you execute them during the course of the model's turn. But there's some differences. One is there's 3 kinds. There's contemplation, which means I do it pre-game, and if I'm successful at effect, lasts the whole encounter.
Right.
And then there's the kind that's a special action, and the kind that is on myself. And then it's the kind of emanation that produces an effect within 3 inches of me. Right. And so you choose as your monk moves and does this thing. So there's not just one model with this skill in the free band. Right. The Von Pang, who kind of fills the slot of the caster. I'm using the word slot for Colin's benefit.
They're the anti-caster.
Right, the anti-caster, yeah. So, because of culturally, we're getting into lore, the Varkraalans have rejected magic and the gods, or the gods' effects on mortal lives.
Yeah.
And so they have to produce some of these enhancement effects by looking inward.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And the Von Pang is different in that they are a pure monk, which means they are fully a scroll path, study this ability in depth to produce some very significant effects that not only help them, but help the rest of their free bandmates. The Change Seeker and the True Seeker have the ability to pick up these focus skills sort of at the same level as Wild Magic. Focus D6, limited list of mantras compared to what the Wampang has.
Right.
But these effects are also in other models inside
Right.
Freeman.
And just to dip into the lore just a little bit there, the Change Seeker and the Truth Seeker are monks in their own rights, but not like the Wampang.
Right.
They're different, and we'll go into that.
Yeah, the key word in the game is pure monk. So the Wampang is a extra set of rules that apply to it.
Right.
They can combine mantras. It's the big one.
That's awesome.
So when I go to make my focus test, I could have 2 or 3 effects come out of it, but of course I'm jacking the target number by choosing to do that.
Right.
And I can have a negative effect if it gets high enough and I fail. The Change Seeker and the Truth Seeker, 1, and it's basically something that generally helps them or their immediate vicinity.
Right.
So, and their styles. So their styles fit what the model is supposed to be doing as part of the free band.
Right.
So the starter box is the dervish, a highly accomplished swordsman, swordsperson.
Swordsperson.
In this case, the model's male, but a swordsperson. The sword storm talent.
What an amazing talent.
Right. He's also a blade dancer.
Yes.
Right. And so a very effective combat model, really single purpose. If you look at the dervish, he is there to cut people with a sword.
That's right.
And make them hate it. The Wampang is fills that space that you would find the caster in. Has a bunch of effects, can combine mantras, can help other models around them by what they do, and has the dampening talent. Spells that are cast nearby are -3 to the die roll test. So not the same as counterspell, but a kind of area counterspell effect.
Sure.
So they have that role to fill too. So they have the ability to be kind of a support model. They can make themselves an okay fighter, not a great fighter, but an okay fighter.
Right.
If they choose to use that set of mantras, or they can be in support their bandmates.
And I love that they have the option.
The option, right? It's really about how you see focus helping you, and you can do it where you're all over the map.
Of course.
But generally, you're looking to produce these synergies by taking a look at what these models can do together and making that part of your plan.
You really just described my erratic way of playing all of them.
Yeah, one of each, and I just randomly select a mantra each turn.
Yeah.
So Dervish, Wampang, then 2 heroes. The Zevris has a Zeradrak, which is the twin-bladed spear.
Yes.
So a double attack model. And parry and Fighting Spirit.
Which was awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Fighting Spirit is basically if I get taken to 0 life points, so I can make a certain die roll and come back with 1. I'm hard to put down.
Right.
So a reverse die roll.
Yeah, I love that they that it's it's almost their psychological
just
will.
Gonna fight
just
on one more turn. Yeah.
Right.
So and then if you look at people were talking about, so what's the play style of these guys? You have real finesse factions like the Eclipse,
right,
where you're not heavily armored, and if you get stuck in a fight against a heavily armored foe with a good weapon or a couple of attacks, you're going to just die.
Right.
So you have Blade Dancer and Elusive and these things that get you out of trouble. The Varkraalans are a little bit more of a hybrid, because of your choice of how to play them by the way you use your focus skill. You have to pass the test, right? So sometimes, it's just the universe works against you, obviously. But so the Zevris doesn't have focus, a pure fighter,
right?
But hangs in the battle longer than a model of its armor and defensive talents would, because of Fighting Spirit. So Varkraalan's a little bit more of a hybrid, more like Valkar, in that they're not, Kazar, Caradel, Kandor heavy end,
right? And
they're not all the way at the Eclipse finesse end. They have kind of, and it really has to do, like I said, with focus, how you use it.
Yeah, Falkar's kind of who when I was reading through their cards when we published them, that was who they reminded me of, right?
The most.
They're different, obviously, right? Because you've got some different choices, but there's some utility,
right? But you say, so someone might say, well, you say Valkar, but there's armor 6 and armor 5 in Valkar, and there's none of that in Varkraal. But the issue becomes, right, if I have certain focus mantras placed on me, or if I have Fighting Spirit, I have other ways to not die.
That's right.
Besides
That's right.
failing a damage test because my armor's too high.
And remember, we're not done producing Varkraalan yet.
No, we're not. Yes. Also, that's coming. Yeah, because I do have to step out into the reach and fight trillions full of lava.
Exactly.
So
Right.
we'll get to that guy. And I've been working on it, by the way. I've worked on that stat line. Okay, so Dervish, Wampang, Zevris, Chainseeker.
Chainseeker. Chainseeker.
Chainseeker. There's going to be different grades, ranks of Chainseeker, seekers of all kinds. Jade is the one that we're introducing first. And Chainseeker is a utility fighter. And once again, that model does have focus, D6, and a couple of mantras. And it's really how you use those to determine what role that model is going to play.
Yeah.
Those are your 4 heroes. Then you have the State Archer and the State Spearman, and they are
what they are.
They are what they are. I have a bow, a composite bow, not a bow, so a little better, right? It's D8 damage and 30-inch range. And I have a spear and a shield on the State Spearman with shield mate.
Gorgeous models, though.
Oh, all of them.
Right.
Though.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I was just looking at the.
I saw Aaron's painted dervish. I wanted to cry.
Oh my gosh! Right. Well, just because you guys you've seen them on the cards now, I guess, right? So you can see just what an amazing job Aaron Newell, our studio painter, has done with those. Aaron always does a great job, but he just outdid himself on these. He went nuts on them, and they're beautiful.
Yeah. And told me, he finally decided to come to work that day. It's great. So that's the starter box. So 4 heroes, one of which is the keyworded pure monk, and then another hero that has that is a monk. It has focus, but not the full D10 skill level, and 2 followers, an archer and a spearman. Not utility followers, warrior followers.
Right.
And then we're releasing 2 other models with the initial release. So we have the starter box, those 6 models, and we also have a hero and a follower. The Dread Hunter, which I have wanted to get onto the table for
that
15 years.
That artwork has existed since the beginning.
Of time. Yeah. It was on a cave in France, and his hunting cat.
Yes.
Right? The follower of the hunting
Which
cat.
is a really cool addition.
Well, thank you.
For the Dread Hunter.
Yeah. That was a joint effort. There's a lot of people involved in coming up with that plan. So the Dread Hunter has got a dread spear, a pinning hunting spear, and a bow. Right? So he's a utility model. Not fantastic either. Not a pure archer and not a pure spear warrior, but solid, in terms of what they can do. And then has a new talent called Hunting Partner. And the hunting partner is a bracket with the hunting cat. If the hunting cat is in contact with an enemy, you can ignore it for the purposes of shooting that guy.
That's pretty hot.
Yeah. And if you're melee with them, you get better for every hunting cat that's fighting the same model. So pairing these guys up. Now, the hunting cat's got a lot going for it, so it's 15 gold. You can't just, take a jillion hunting cats.
Sure.
My 275 list has only 2 of them. But whatever, So... because they are pricey. You got to make some hard choices.
So the Dread Hunters are crazy cat people.
But they do. the crazy cat people. Well, the Forester's got something to say about. I was here first. My cat's got a 50 millibase. So, because the hunting cat's a smaller animal, so at 40. Right. But a hero archer with a decent amount of melee capability, but he's a hybrid, like a Reaver's Kindred.
Right.
He's not going to be the best fighter to throw at somebody. He's not going to be the best archer to shoot at somebody, but boy, he can do both well.
Yeah.
So you got to make that work for you. And that's the 8 model release for Adepticon.
Let's talk about the 2 other models that are in existence right now that are part of the...
So about that, right? So there are 2 long-standing Varkraalans that have been in the Free Blades line forever. One is currently serving as a bandit, but there's also a faction model for the Varkraalan faction. That's the Bounty Hunter. So the Bounty Hunter is the Varkraalan. And that's the theme. We've talked before, right, about how especially many of the nation factions, the map factions, are inspired by some Earth-based cultures.
Right.
And so Tibet strongly influences of Varkraalans.
Right.
They're a mountain, they're dwelling people, but surrounded by plains and with significant plateaus up in the mountains. And
So,
so,
very entrenched monk.
yes,
culture.
right, has that spiritual
monastery.
culture. Yeah. So in there, that look of I'm dressed, for climbing part of the Himalayas or whatever.
Right.
So that's why the bounty hunter looks the way he does. The dread hunter is basically the same outfit.
Same
on,
outfit. Yeah.
essentially.
I love that we carried that over.
Right. And so the ones that are out in the wilderness are dressed for being in that kind of climate or that kind of area. And the truth seeker.
Right.
Now the bounty hunter in the bandit list is a particular person, and he's
Yes.
teammated with the Huskarl.
Yes.
They
Which
have
is
a relationship,
awesome,
story relationship. Yeah.
Awesome.
They have a story
pair.
relationship. Might be modeled on a couple of famous fantasy pairings.
Maybe.
And the Truth Seeker, which is a sponsored model, a model that Sean Fulton sponsored a long time ago. And the Jade Truth Seeker line, same model, but a faction model line in the Varkraalan stat summary, but has focus.
Right.
Right? That version of her has
Yep.
focus. And so she's got focus D6, a different style than the Chain Seeker and the One Pang. So you put her in there, you could have 3 focus tests a turn.
Right.
And different ways to do it. So you've got a lot of flexibility in the way your free band plays right out the gate.
Yes, which
You
is
have
really
to add
nice.
like 20 models to get a lot of different ways to take it. There's different ways to play it day one, because you're going to have 8 models to choose from, 8 different models to choose from, and then 2 more that already exist. And then of those models, 3 of them have focus. And what you choose to do with that focus in a turn mixed with your mix of models. You're going to have Varkraalan free bands that are at the same point value and play
Very
substantially differently
Yeah.
right out the gate.
Right.
So
No, that's good though. And so while we're talking about this, let's talk about. And I'm pulling something up here for this very purpose. Let's talk about when you can get the Varkraalans, because you have some options.
you do.
So the first option, and we're doing something very new with this, we are shipping our retailer orders sometime around the 17th of this month of March. Right. So retailers are going to have them in their stores as long as the USPS carries through. Which, yeah.
UPS.
Shop.
We ship to stores with
Okay,
UPS.
thank goodness. Right. Well,
Yeah,
then
so
we get there on time.
It's more reliable. For a larger order where you have insurance and all that sort of thing, we tend to go UPS.
And that's a good thing, because that means that you folks that are getting them in the stores, you're going to have a chance to get them early, and our retailers are going to be able to carry them early. And that's something that we want to do going forward for our retailers. That also means that, guys, if you have a retailer that's carrying free blades and you want the Varkraalans, you need to let them know.
Right.
They've received an email that says that these things are getting ready for pre-order, and you need to tell them, hey, I'd like to see this.
If this podcast we're recording right now is out within a week of when we're talking about, you will still have time to get that in by the deadline.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so if you're hearing this, go ahead and
Tell
place
them.
an order.
Yeah. Call on that retailer and let them know. And then, of course, I mean, we're going to have them at Adepticon.
Right.
And we're going to have a ton of them at Adepticon. And,
That's 2 ways.
That's 2
You come to the convention.
Mm-hmm.
Right after the convention is over, they go live on the website.
On the website, right. So if you can't make it to Adepticon, we're sad. We'd
We're
love
very
to
sad
see you
about that.
there.
Yeah, we're very sad.
But we understand. But you can get them right after. I think they go live on Sunday, is what we're saying. So
Sunday of
by the time that we get home from Adepticon,
March 30,
March 30,
31, somewhere there.
they're going to be online and ready for you to grab. So lots of different ways you can get them. You're going to want to get them because they're beautiful and they're a brand new way to play, and they're awesome.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
I think that is about it for today. Gosh, we've got so much more to talk about, especially with Varkraal, and we're hoping to do that in the next coming couple of weeks and even afterwards, right? Because these aren't going to be into your hands for a couple of weeks.
Right.
And once you get them, we're going to want to talk about them even more.
Yep.
Be watching our socials, because we'll have a lot of stuff coming out about their lore and some other things for them. So
As soon as I get mine painted, we're going to have a battle report.
that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
So lots of good things. And folks, if you have any suggestions or comments about the Sleeping Grush podcast, make sure to drop those on the Discord.
Appropriate channel
Sleeping
on
Grush
Discord.
channel. Yeah, the appropriate channel. If you drop
Any
them
channel,
in
any
inappropriate
channel, whatever,
we'll
you know.
probably filter them.
Just,
Maybe.
yeah.
Only sort of snidely.
There are only a couple of channels I don't actually monitor, you know. Off Topic is one because Off Topic.
For obvious reasons, right?
I don't need your gifts. I love you guys. I do. You gift me out, so I don't monitor it.
But definitely leave those comments on
Yeah.
there. And gosh, anything else we need to talk about today before we close this up?
We would like to have a regular segment where we answer your questions. So make sure you get questions. It doesn't have to be about Varkraal.
It doesn't have to be above Varkraal.
Right.
That's right.
So
Yep. Job board.
job board.
Yep. And we are monitoring. There's a couple of questions that are sitting out there, and we will pick those back up in our
For the
next
episode.
round.
Right.
Yeah. So, gosh, if that's all for today, folks, thank you very much for being here. And until next time, we'll see you around the table.
Sil Sakaba.